Alright, what's going on, gamers? Today I'm here with a different kind of video. I haven't really done this in a long time. I did it once or twice a couple times, but before the Sword and Shield launch, and they weren't the best videos in the world, but I did them. This is top 5 best Pokemon in VGC20 pre-DLC. This is pre-DLC. This is before the Isle of Armor, before the Crown Tundra, before all that, and I am literally trying to get this out before the DLC comes out, so hopefully I can manage that. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So, first and foremost, I am not the best at VGC. I am mediocre at best. I can get to Master Ball tier pretty consistently, but I'm not the best at the game by any means. I've been playing Sword and Shield VGC since the Sword and Shield launch, and that's about my experience. I haven't played in previous years, never played in previous generations. This is my first generation in VGC, so this is only my knowledge of what's good, what's bad, and what's not. So just take everything I say with a grain of salt. Take the order with a grain of salt. If you disagree, you can disagree politely. Don't be mean. Don't attack me. Yes. So full disclaimer, not the best. But anyway, let's get into the top 5. So coming in at number 5 is going to be Konkelder. So Konkelder is a beefy boy with a attack stat of 140. So has a lot of HP, has a lot of decent defense, has, you know, the special defense. We don't want to talk about that. The attacks, the main stat here, it's 140. The speed 45 also allows it to work on Trick Room, which is a very notable fact for a lot of Pokemon, because if they have a speed low enough, then that literally gives them an entire other team they can work on. So, and looking into the most common abilities for Konkelder, it runs Iron Fist a lot because it boosts punching moves by 20%, and the most moves you're going to be running are going to be punching moves, because the only one I think it can possibly run that isn't a punching move, at least most often, is Rock Slide. And for Rock Slide, you generally runs Guts, because with the Guts, the Pokemon, when you have a Burn, Poison, or Paralysis, I think technically Freeze and Sleep, but you're not going to be hitting in Freeze and Sleep, you get a 50% boost to your physical attack. So 50% boost to the 140 base attack is going to be like 210 base attack. It's going to be nutty. So Guts is really good, Iron Fist is really good, top tier abilities for an already broken Pokemon. And the most common items that Konkelder runs are Flame Orb, for Guts boosting obviously, Assault Vest to boost the pretty abysmal special defense, because this Pokemon has very heavy 4 move slot syndrome. It has like 6 or 7 moves it likes to run, but you most times want 4 different attacks or coverage and such, so Assault Vest is pretty good for that. And then Life Orb to boost the attack by 30%, I believe. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, but it's a solid item, it's really good. But yeah, any 3 of these items benefit this Pokemon immensely. Unless you're running Iron Fist, then you're not going to run Flame Orb, obviously, but with Guts, all 3 of them work pretty well. With Iron Fist, the bottom 2 work pretty well, and overall, great abilities, great items, great moves, great Pokemon, top tier. Moving on into the common moves this Pokemon runs. This is why Iron Fist is really good. It runs Mach Punch, Drain Punch, Thunder Punch, and Ice Punch. So it also gets Fire Punch, but it's not used as often because it's just not as needed. Drain Punch hits Steel types, Fire Punch is just like... Ice Punch hits, what does Fire Punch hit? Fire Punch hits Grass types, Ice Punch hits Grass types, stuff like that. So Thunder Punch is really good because hitting flying types in particular, it's mostly for Togekiss, I believe. At least that's what I like doing with it. Also, Ice Punch does the same thing, but Thunder Punch works against like bulky water types like Milotic and Rotom, not really Rotom Wash, but Milotic. It also can run Detect, and you run Detect over Protect because if the opponent has Imprison and Protect, and they use Imprison, they don't imprison your Detect because it's a different move. Big brain. It can also run Rock Slide, like I said, but it's less frequent, so it's just not really relevant to put on here. But these are the main 5 moves, and that's why Konkelder is number 5. It has insane bulk, it has insane damage, it has insane move variety, it has insane item synergy, it's insane abilities, top tier Pokemon, and moving on. So I almost forgot to do the common EV spreads for Konkelder, which I mean, they're sort of self-explanatory. The Brave one is more of a bulkier set. Well, they're both bulky sets because Konkelder isn't going to be running fast. So, Brave's pretty bulky, max attack, because you always want to do as much damage as possible. And the Brave is running probably 0 speed IVs most of the time, because you want to be minimum speed possible for Trick Room. And then Adamant is probably what you run when you're not putting it in Trick Room. And then I would imagine the Brave one is not running Assault Vest usually, because it has some special defense investment, and I believe this Pokemon can live most hits with Assault Vest. I think it lives even a crit Dazzling Gleam from a Togekiss with at least some HP if it has Assault Vest on, I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. But yeah, these are the spreads. This is what makes the Pokemon what it is. It's insane. Top tier. Konkelder, number 5 slot. Easy win. Moving on into the number 4 slot is going to be Gigantamax Lapras. So Lapras' stats aren't crazy, aside from the HP being 130, which is really good for a G-Max Pokemon because your HP is doubled, which is a multiplier, meaning the higher HP, the more you gain. So HP of 130, really good. The attack and the special attack are even, meaning you can go either way, which most just run special, but I guess physical is an option maybe. The defense and special defense are both pretty solid, and the speed is at that point at 60 where you could technically run it for Trick Room, or it could at least underspeed most things in Trick Room. So the speed works for it, the HP is insane, has decent stats all around, but it's overall pretty well balanced aside from the HP. And Lapras' abilities both benefit it insanely. It synergizes so well with what this Pokemon does. So Shell Armor prevents you from being critically hit, which means you cannot be critically hit through your Aurora Veil, which is one of the biggest things about Aurora Veil, is that if you get crit, you just sort of just die. And then Water Absorb is actually really good as well, because you have so much HP that recovering 25% of your maximum HP is way more than like a Dusclops with base 40 HP recovering 25%. It's insane. So also Water Absorbs an immunity, but that's, you know, it resists water anyway. But yeah, Shell Armor, Water Absorb, top tier abilities. I think it's Hydration as well or something, and it doesn't really run that because it doesn't need to. And moving on into the common items. So it runs Light Clay, because Light Clay, for those that aren't aware, boosts the duration of the Aurora Veil set by G-Max Resonance. So that's already a really good item. It also can run Life Orb for some extra damage if you're wanting a more offensive by default set, I guess. Like, to me, Lapras' main goal is to set Aurora Veil, but also you don't want to waste your Dynamax on not killing a Pokemon, so it's, you know, beneficial to run Life Orb as well. And then it runs Weakness Policy, because one-shotting this Pokemon is easily one of the most difficult things in the game. The HP is insane, the defenses are wild, and your odds are you're not going to one-shot it, so it's going to get the policy activated and go ham on your Pokemon with +2 special attack, usually, because it runs special attacks. And the common moves on Lapras are, for the most part, pretty much this. It's Hydro Pump, Protect, Freeze Dry, and Thunder, I would say usually. Sometimes it runs Perish Song, because to be fair, with Perish Song, if you are in a 3v2 situation and you use Perish Song, you immediately win the game, because they can't kill all your Pokemon before they faint. At least if you have Protect of any kind. Thunder's really good for coverage because it hits opposing water types, opposing Lapras, opposing things that might be an issue for Lapras. Freeze Dry is obviously to use G-Max Resonance to set the Aurora Veil, which is what this Pokemon's bread and butter is. It's the entire point of the Pokemon existing. And also, sometimes people run Blizzard, because Blizzard is stronger, but I like Freeze Dry because it also hits water type super effectively, so you don't need to run Thunder, potentially, if that's what your threat is. And Freeze Dry also is quad effective on Gastrodon, and Gastrodon can kind of check Lapras in terms of like the water move at least, so it's beneficial there. And then finally, the EV spreads for Lapras. Most just run Modest Nature and a decent amount of bulk, a lot of special attack, and that's kind of about it. It just runs max special attack or high special attack, a healthy chunk of bulk, and then sometimes they speed creep to outspeed certain things. It's kind of whatever team you want to run, whatever you want to run with the EV spreads. Overall, a lot of defense, it seems. A lot of defense. For those that are unaware, by the way, these EVs go in the order of HP, attack, defense, special defense, speed. That's just, that's the way they go. But yeah, the spreads are crazy. Also, they're all supplied by Pikalytics. I didn't mention that before, and I should have. All the EV spreads and move stats and usage stats are all supplied by Pikalytics, so I'm not just pulling them out of thin air. They're from a reliable source, so there's that. Moving on to the number 3 slot. This is probably the most controversial one, but I mean, I personally put Dragopole at number 3. So, Dragopole's HP, its defense, and special defense are all solid, so it has good bulk all around. The attack is 120, and special attack is 100, allowing you to go either way. You can go physically offensive or specially offensive, and then the speed stat's 142, which is the fastest Pokemon in the format right now. It's the fastest Pokemon without items and Tailwind and stuff like that, so that alone makes it incredible. Speed tiers, to me, are everything in competitive Pokemon in general, whether it be doubles or singles. Speed's super important. So, if you can outspeed your opponent guaranteed just by leading off with this Pokemon, that gives you an immense advantage right out the gate, and also, like I said, the variety that it can do is insane. It has bulk, it has attack, special attack, it has everything you'd ever want out of a Pokemon, and it has a good typing as well with Dragon Ghost, which benefits for a couple reasons, but I will get into that when I get into the items. But before items comes the abilities, and this Pokemon's abilities are insane. It only really runs Clear Body, but I put Infiltrator here too because it does have its uses. Clear Body, what it does is it prevents your stats from being lowered by the opponent. So if you use Draco Meteor, your special attack is still going down. But if the opponent uses or if they try to intimidate you or use max, what lowers attack? What lowers attack? What lowers attack? I don't remember. Max Dragon, Max Wormwind, it won't lower your attack stat. So you can still do full damage. It's insane. And Dynamax meta, it's really good to be immune to stat changes. Like, kind of crazy. It's kind of why I'm looking forward to Metagross, if I'm being honest, because it was confirmed for the Frozen Tundra, or the Crown Tundra, and I'm very excited for that. And then Infiltrator's good, because your moves ignore Light Screen, Reflect, Aurora Veil, technically Substitute, Safeguard, and Mist, but those last three are kind of irrelevant. The big ones there are Reflect, Light Screen, and Aurora Veil. Ignoring those is kind of good. It's really strong, but the issue with that is if you ignore Reflect, but then you still get intimidated, you're still doing less damage, so the Clear Body, in my opinion, is just better, but Infiltrator has its uses, so both are good abilities, all around. And now we are at the items, and Life Orb is just an all-around good item for it, physically, especially, overall. Free damage, no reason not to run it. Well, I say free damage, you take damage for it, but ignore that. Focus Sash is for more bulky sets, where you're, I guess, well, it's not bulky, but like support sets. Like if you're gonna ally switch or set up a screen or something, you want the Focus Sash to guaranteed survive a hit, and usually get 2 screens up, depending on if your opponent has Tailwind or whatever. And then Weakness Policy is why Dragon Ghost is actually a better typing for it, because you could have your allies activate the policy pretty easily with Ice Shard or Shadow Sneak or Brutal Swing or something of the sorts, and it's really beneficial for it, because Weakness Policy, I believe, is actually its most run item, or at least I see it more often than I wish I did, and it just makes it really good. So the moves for Dragopole are a little bit different. So it runs Phantom Force, Dragon Darts, Protect, and Fly. That's its most common moveset overall. But then I have everything else at the bottom, because it can run Ally Switch, it can run Light Screen, Reflect, it can run Steel Wing. I've seen Steel Wing before. It can be especially offensive with Draco Meteor, Shadow Ball, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt. It has so many moves that it can run, so many sets that it can run. The versatility is what makes this Pokemon insane to me, because off Team Preview, you have no way of knowing what they're going to be running. So, to me, it's kind of incredible. Top tier Pokemon, really fast. So the EV spreads here these are the most common 2 EV spreads. It's Jolly with max HP, what the heck? It's Jolly with max speed, max attack, or Timid with max speed, max special attack. So it's pretty much physically offensive, especially offensive. There are bulkier sets out there, because it does have enough bulk to be run that way, but I don't see them very often. I've seen Light play Dragopole before too, but like I said, it's so uncommon that it's not really part of the meta, I guess, which is what this video is about. But that's Dragopole, number 3, guaranteed, easy win for it. Moving on. And now that we are here in the number 2 slot, we are getting into the more annoying Pokemon, and the first one here, number 2, I guess the second one, is going to be Dusclops. This Pokemon drives me insane every time I run into it. Not every time, but pretty often. It's super, super annoying for so many different reasons. It's such a strategy shutdowner, dude. It shuts down all my strategies. It's super annoying. But getting to the stats here, it has base 40 HP, which is actually, it's low, but there are reasons that's good, and I'll get into those when I get to the moves. So defense and special defense are 130. That's insane, because it can run Eviolite, because it's a pre-evolved form of Dusknoir. And those defenses, when multiplied by 1.5, are stupid thick. It's very, very bulky. It's very, very annoying to kill. It's actually, I would say it and Gmax Lapras are the 2 hardest things to one-shot in the game, for sure. And then the speed stat's 25, which is also very, very good, being low, because it is one of the best Trick Room setters in the game, and also one of the best Trick Room abusers in the game, because it can just start passing out burns, nightshades, stuff like that. And getting into the common abilities, quote-unquote, the most common ability is Frisk. You're only ever going to run Frisk. No reason not to run Frisk. It's great. It's top tier. You get to see what your opponent's items are. It also gets pressure, but nobody runs pressure. It's bad. So, seeing what the opponent's items are insane. Because, like, say you send it out against a Lapras, and the Lapras has a Light Clay. You now know that you can hit that Lapras super effectively. It's insane. It's top tier. Easily, I would say one of the best, if not the best ability in VGC or in competitive Pokemon in general. But doubles benefits a lot, because you can see 2 items at once rather than 1, because in singles you only fight 1 Pokemon. But yeah. And then the common quote-unquote items is going to be Eviolite. Nobody runs any other item. If you run a different item on Dusclops, you're playing the game wrong. Eviolite is all it should ever run. It boosts your attack, your defense and special defense by 1.5 times. Every single, like, if you're pre-evolved. If you're not fully evolved, you get 1.5 times your defenses. It's what makes Chansey stupid. It's what makes Corsola stupid. It's what makes Dusclops stupid. Top tier item. And then getting into Dusclops' moves. So, Dusclops runs Trick Room almost all the time. It's like easily the most common Trick Room setter in the game. Nightshade is just there for free, 50 damage, there's no reason not to do it. And then Pain Split is the reason that this Pokemon's low HP is so beneficial. So Pain Split, for those that are unaware about the mechanics, it evens out your HP and the opponent's HP that you use it on. So say you have 100 HP and your opponent has 200 HP, you use it, it brings you both to 150 HP. So it heals you and damages them. So because it has a low HP, this Pokemon then can heal up to almost full HP, and the opponent can be brought down to like half. So it's really good, benefits from the HP a lot. And then it gets Haze, which resets all stat changes on the field, so it resets your own side's like attack drops, special attack drops, stuff like that, and also resets the opponent's boosts. It can also, to be fair, reset your own side's boosts, but you have to at least play it smart to know what you're doing. And then it gets Ally Switch, which you do not have to play it smart to know what you're doing, because it's Ally Switch. You just click the button and it works. You either click it or you don't. Pick one. Like, it's the most annoying move in the game. I hate Ally Switch with a passion. I hate it with a burning passion, because, like, they could use it, and then you're like, okay, but are they going to do it again? And then you literally have to sit there and think about it for the entire turn timer. You hit a button, and then they do the opposite of what you think, and you're just losing the game because of it, because this Pokemon is stupid. Anyway, that's Dusclops. I hate it. Moving on. And getting into the EV spreads for Dusclops, it is typically just relaxed nature with varying degrees of bulk. You put the bulk where you want it, you calc what you want, what stats you want. The top one is probably like the most like overall decent spread. It can probably take the most things that would potentially KO it, like maybe a max darkness from a Duraludon, since it gets since Duraludon sometimes hits Dusclops with like the dark pulse, because Duraludon has Stalwart, which ignores Ally Switch, so you can always hit Dusclops no matter what, and stuff like that. But the spreads, I'm sure they're there for a reason. I don't know the reasons in particular, but I mean, it doesn't matter. This Pokemon's so bulky. You put all your points into bulk and you're doing it right. So, yeah. Moving on to the number 1 slot, which is going to be Togekiss. So, Togekiss to me is easily the best Pokemon in the current meta pre-DLC for Sword and Shield. The stats are literally everything they need to be. It has enough speed to matter. It has decent HP. It has a really solid defense of 95. And then special attack is 120. And then special defense is 115. So, it's stupid bulky and stupid strong, and fast enough to outspeed things when it matters. So, overall, Togekiss has top tier stats for what its role is, and it has a couple of those, and we'll get into those right now. So, it has 2 abilities. It has one called Super Luck, which boosts the critical hit rate of the Pokemon by 1 stage, and then you typically run this with a Scope Lens, which boosts it by 2 stages, and 2 stages of critical hit rate gives you a 50% chance to critical hit with every move you use. So, that's already stupid. And then it has Serene Grace, which is there, and it doubles the effect of, or doubles the chance of a secondary effect from the move the Pokemon uses. So, say you use Air Slash, the chance to flinch goes from 10% to 20%, or whatever it is. Like, say this Pokemon were to get like Iron Head. Iron Head has a 30% chance to flinch, so you get a 60% chance to flinch if you were to use Iron Head with a Serene Grace Pokemon. Serene Grace Iron Head user is like Jirachi, but the move is stupid, or the ability is stupid, so you get like Heat Wave burns and Air Slash flinches and all this other stuff going on all the time. Although offensive sets typically run Super Luck because critical hitting is just really good in a meta where all the opponents are boosting all their defenses and stuff with max moves and such, so it can go either way. And the most common items on Togekiss are Scope Lens to boost the critical hit rate, but Berry is typically on more like defensive redirecting sets, because if you're not defensive, the Berry will just not save you anyway, because you'll just die anyway. But Berry, for those that are unaware, reduces the power of Steel-type moves that hit you, or super effective Steel moves that hit you, so only if you're weak to Steel. So like a Durant isn't going to have their Berry activate, but a Togekiss will. And then it runs Weakness Policy because, similar to Lapras, this Pokemon is very hard to one-shot. It's very, very bulky, it's very, very tanky. You can do it, but if it Dynamaxes, odds are you can't, so overall, all these items just benefit it so much for its stats and its abilities and everything, and yeah. Moving on into the common moves, it runs Follow Me, which is just stupid. It's redirection. I say it's stupid. It's actually probably the most, like, I think it's very healthy for the meta to have like redirection to allow certain Pokemon just to work in general. So Follow Me makes all the opponent's attacks hit you or hit the Togekiss unless the opponent uses like Snipe Shot or a Stalwart Duraludon or a Propeller Tail, Barraskewda, or something of the sort. Air Slash is just Flying Stab, good for Dynamaxing, boosts your speed if you use Max Airstream with it. Good move all around. Dazzling Gleam is there for Fairy Stab because it's also spread, which is really good because you can ignore the opponent's redirection. So say you want to hit their Dragopole, Dragopole Togekiss, your Gleam will hit the Dragopole and do super effective damage, and if your Scope Lens plus Super Luck, you're probably going to critical hit as well. And then it gets Heat Wave. It runs Heat Wave sometimes. It's not common as much anymore, but it was a pretty common move back a couple seasons ago. I haven't seen it much anymore. I'm sure it's still used, but I don't run it personally. And then it runs Yawn, which is a move that the turn after it's used, it puts the opponent that was hit to sleep. And it's super annoying to get hit by a Yawn, but it's super fun to hit your opponent with Yawn. So it's good. It can force switches. It can put your opponent to sleep. Sleep is easily one of the most powerful status conditions in VGC, in my opinion, because there's no limit like there is in Smogon and singles and stuff like that. So yeah, the moves are insane, benefit the Pokemon insanely, and they're super annoying. And then finally, these are the EV spreads that Togekiss typically runs. It runs Timid with max speed, max special attack, or Bold with a varying degree of bulk and speed, depending on what you want to, take. This is pretty much just like where the Pokemon get split. Like either you're offensive with Super Luck and stuff, or you're Bold with like Serene Grace and Babiri Berry and stuff like that. I guess you can run Super Luck while bulky as well, but for some reason I run Serene Grace. I probably should run Super Luck because the 12% chance to crit is still decent. But the spreads are good. It has insane bulk. It has insane offensive pressure. It can do whatever it wants. It has like Pokemon that have versatility. To me, are the best Pokemon to use. Like ones that have like multiple options are really good because like there's an entire layer to the mind games. Like the opponent will not know, are they a physical Dragopole or a special? Are they bulky Togekiss or offensive? It's crazy. It's top tier. But anyway, those are the reasons why Togekiss is #1. It's versatile. It has redirection. It's insane. And with that, that is my top 5 best Pokemon in VGC20 pre-DLC. So I will probably do another one of these tier list videos in the future. Not tier list videos, top 5 videos in the future. I will probably do one before the Crown Tundra comes out, before the Isle of Armor meta, with what I think about the meta for that, era of time. And if you guys want to see more top 5s in the future, if you have any interesting things to make top 5s about, let me know in the comments. But for now, I'm going to call it there. So thank you everybody for watching it. Comment, subscribe, like, all fun stuff. I'll see y'all later. Bye.